Collection of passages on the enlightened qualities of Buddha-nature. Quote, all beings possess the Buddha-nature. Because of the Buddha-nature, beings possess within themselves the 10 powers, the 32 signs of perfection, and the 80 minor marks of excellence. End quote. Mahaparinirvana Sutra. Quote, having faults that are adventitious and qualities that are its nature, it is afterwards the same as before. This is Dharmata, ever unchanging. End quote. Bodhisattva Maitreya. Quote, Buddha qualities are indivisible. The true state is always free from any fickleness and deceit. Since beginningless time, the nature has been peace itself. End quote. Bodhisattva Maitreya. Quote, luminous clear light is not created. It is indivisibly manifest in the nature of beings, and holds all the Buddha properties, outnumbering the grains of sand in the river Ganges. End quote. Bodhisattva Maitreya. Buddha nature is not empty of itself, but cognizant and luminous, filled with innumerable enlightened qualities. When we attain perfect enlightenment in the Pure Land of Amida, we experience the natural supreme light and perfect knowledge inherent in our Buddha nature. It will be like getting out of a narrow and stinky cell into the open space of the most beautiful natural park with innumerable wonders and beauties. Everything becomes possible in that moment. Quote, the presence of the element, its result, its qualities, and the achievement of benefit are the objects of understanding of a Buddha. When towards these four, as explained above, one of understanding is filled with devotion to their presence, ability, and qualities, he will be quickly endowed with the fortune by which one attains the state of a Tathagata. End quote. Bodhisattva Maitreya. The element is the Buddha nature filled with innumerable enlightened qualities. The result is the discovery of the Buddha nature. Benefit is a self-benefit and the benefit of others by becoming able to help all beings. When hearing in faith and devotion about the existence of Buddha nature with all its qualities and the capacities to help all beings, and when we want to attain this state, we will be guided by all Buddhas towards it. Receiving faith in Amida Buddha and saying his name in faith is also due to the work and guidance of all Buddhas. People who accept the existence of Buddha nature with its inherent qualities and do not fall into the wrong view of nihilistic emptiness have more chances to become open to the primal vow of Amida Buddha. Quote, from the beginning, suchness in its nature is fully provided with all excellent qualities, namely, it is endowed with the light of great wisdom, the qualities of illuminating the entire universe, of true cognition, and mind, pure in its self-nature, of eternity, bliss, self, and purity, of refreshing coolness, immutability, and freedom. It is endowed with these excellent qualities which outnumber the sands of the Ganges, which are not independent of, disjointed from, or different from the essence of suchness, and which are supra-rational attributes of Buddhahood. Since it is endowed completely with all these and is not lacking anything, it is called the Tathagata when latent, and also the Dharmakaya of the Tathagata. End quote. Master Ashwagosha, Awakening Faith in the Mahayana. Quote, it should be understood that the Tathagata, or the essence of the Tathagata or Buddha nature from the beginning, contains only pure excellent qualities which, outnumbering the sands of the Ganges, are not independent of, severed from, or different from suchness. That the soiled states of defilement, which outnumbering the sands of the Ganges, are not independent of, severed from, or different from suchness. That the soiled states of defilement which, outnumbering the sands of the Ganges, merely exist in illusion, are from the beginning non-existent, and from the beginningless beginning have never been united with the Tathagata. It has never happened that the Tathagata contained deluded states in its essence, and that it induced itself to realize suchness in order to extinguish forever its deluded states. End quote. Master Ashwagosha, Awakening Faith in the Mahayana. Quote, within our Buddha nature are three qualities of enlightened body, speech, and mind. The unchanging quality that is like the openness of space is called Vajra body. The unceasing quality is called Vajra speech. The unmistaken quality, the capacity to perceive, even without thought, is called Vajra mind. These three, Vajra body, speech and mind, are inherently present as the nature of all sentient beings. All we need to do is recognize this. Even though we have the three Vajras, we do not know it, and thus we continue to wander in samsara. Ordinary confusion covers up our innate three Vajras. Our physical body of flesh and blood covers the Vajra body. The words and sounds we utter, which are interrupted and intermittently created, obscure the unceasing quality of Vajra speech, and our train of thoughts that comes and goes and endlessly arises and ceases from moment to moment, day after day, life after life, is exactly what obscures the unmistaken quality of Vajra mind. End quote. Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche, the fourth Dharma of Gampopa. Quote, the Buddha-nature, the Sugata Gaba, is already present as the nature of our own mind, just like the unchanging brilliance of the sun shining in the sky. But due to our ordinary dualistic thinking, this sun of the Buddha nature is not evident. We do not see it. Not even a fraction of the innate qualities of Buddhahood are manifest in the state of mind of a normal person. The conceptual thoughts we have day and night obscure our Buddha nature, just like the sun in the sky is momentarily covered by clouds and seems to be obscured. Due to the passing clouds of ignorance, we do not recognize the Buddha nature. The ever-present Buddha nature is like the unhindered sun shining in the sky, but sunshine never reaches inside a cave facing north. This cave is an analogy for misunderstanding, wrong view, or partial understanding. From primordial time until this very moment, the main actions we have performed have been the activities of the three poisons, that is, attachment, anger, and dullness. We have continuously engaged in liking, disliking, and remaining indifferent, not just in one or two lives, but throughout countless lifetimes. End quote. Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche, the fourth Dharma of Gampopa. Quote, the state of complete enlightenment contains many great qualities like the fourfold fearlessnesses, the 10 powers, the 18 unique qualities, and so forth. The state of Buddhahood also contains the capacity to transform an instant into an eon, and an eon into an instant. The qualities of Buddhahood are inconceivable, and all these qualities are inherently present in the Buddha nature. They are not some new qualities that are achieved later on. They are not two different types of Buddha nature. It is not that the Buddhas have one type of Buddha nature, and we sentient beings have another type. End quote. Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche, the fourth Dharma of Gampopa. Quote, please understand that self-existing wakefulness is primordially endowed with all perfect qualities. The qualities of enlightenment are not a fabrication or a product. They are present from the very beginning. It is like the unchanging brilliance of the sun shining in the sky. It can be obscured by the clouds, but these clouds are neither primordial nor intrinsic to the sky. They are always temporary, momentary. What prevents full realization of our innate nature, of self-existing wakefulness or Buddha nature, is the momentary occurrence of thoughts and fixation. Because this occurrence is momentary, it can be cleared away. It is very important to understand this. End quote. Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche, Buddha nowhere else. Bodhisattva Nagarjuna said in praise of the elements of attributes, words in normal brackets are my own, and words in special brackets are the words of Master Dolpopa. Homage, quote, homage and obedience to the element of attributes, that is Buddha nature with its innate qualities, definitely dwelling in all sentient beings, which if one does not thoroughly know, one wonders in the three existences. Due to being mixed with limitless defilement, the element of attributes is not seen. For example, just as due to having purified milk, the essence of butter is seen without obstructive defilement, so, due to having purified land and extinguished the afflictive emotions through the path, the very undefiled element of attributes is manifestly seen. Buddha nature becomes visible only after we extinguish the afflictive emotions. In our case, the path for purifying afflictive emotions is an Mbutsu of faith, and the place for purifying them is the pure land of Amida, that we attain after death. Just as a butter lamp dwelling inside a pot is not in the least perceived, so the element of attributes, or Buddha nature with its innate qualities, also is not perceived inside the pot of afflictive emotions. Finally, when the obstructive pot has entirely been broken, the element of attributes illuminates and is seen to the ends of space. The element of attributes is not newly produced, and its entity never ceases while one is a sentient being. At all times during the basal state, the path and the fruit, it is without afflictive emotions in its nature. In the beginning, in the basal state, the middle, during the path, and the end, during the fruit, primordially, free from defilement. Buddha nature and its innate enlightened qualities is the same, no matter if we discover it or not. Buddha nature is the base, in the sense that it has always existed, and it is the fruit in the sense that we can discover it after following the path, which in our case is the Namutsu of faith and birth in the Pure Land. Just as Vidura gem at all times is luminous, but dwelling inside an obstructive stone, its light is not manifest. So, the element of attributes obscured by afflictive emotions is very undefiled in its nature, but its light is not manifest in the cyclic existence of afflictive emotions. Becoming manifestly luminous in nirvana, nirvana is the discovery of our Buddha nature. Although the element of attributes is naturally pure, it is obstructed by obstructing factors. For example, even the undefiled sun and moon are obscured by 5 obstructions: clouds, mist, smoke, the face of Rahu, and dust and the like. Similarly, the mind of a clear light, which is the nature of all sentient beings, is obscured by 5 obstructions: desire, harmful intent, laziness, excitement, and doubt. Therefore, although a Buddha in which all qualities such as the powers and so forth are integrally complete and exists primordially in all sentient beings, the defilements are extinguished through striving at the path, clearing away obstructions. But the clear light is not consumed, for example, when a garment made from a hard mineral that is stained with various defilements, and to be cleansed of defilement, by fire is put in fire. Its stains are burnt, but it is not. So, similarly, with regard to the mind of clear light or Buddha nature, which has the stains of desire and so forth, its stains are burned by the fire of wisdom on the path. But, since it does not burn, the clear light, the qualities of the clear light do not become non-existent, the way iron is consumed or worn away, and hence that path does not burn away the clear light. The Buddhist path destroys the stains of blind passions and illusions, but does not destroy the Buddha nature and its innate qualities. The Pure Land of Amida Buddha, where we are born, is like a great fireplace, where the stains of defilement are removed, and the Buddha nature is revealed automatically. All the sutras, such as the Mother Sutras and so forth, spoken by the conqueror, that teach emptiness, overcome the afflictive emotions of conceiving self, but do not diminish and refute the essential constituent. The above sutras that teach emptiness do so to help us abandon the idea of a permanent self or ego in our blind passions and ignorance, but do not say that the essential constituent or Buddha nature does not exist. Ultimately, the element of attributes cannot be refuted. For example, just as water existing on the sphere of earth resides in its nature without defilement, so the pristine wisdom inside afflictive emotions similarly always abides without defilement, never suitable to be non-existent. Buddha nature exists and is not stained by our afflictive emotions that cover it since the beginningless past. Though it exists, it is not seen if the obstructions are not purified. For example, just as a child exists in the belly of the womb but is not seen, so the element of attributes covered with afflictive emotions also is not seen. They are always resident. We cannot see Buddha nature and its innate qualities, here described as element of attributes, as long as we are unenlightened and still have blind passions. A single river has different states due to relation with other causes and conditions. Just as a river in summer is said to be warm, but that same river itself in cold season is said to be cold. So, when the elements of attributes is covered with the nets of afflictive emotions, it is called sentient being. But when that element of attributes itself is separated from afflictive emotions, it is called Buddha. End quote. Buddhas are those who uncovered their Buddha nature from afflictive emotions and illusions, while sentient beings are those whose Buddha nature is still covered by them. Quote, the 5 qualities of Buddha nature are: it is beginningless, it has no end, it is pure, it is permanent, and it is obscured. This fifth quality of being obscured and not able to be seen is illustrated by an example found in the Uttara Tantra. In this example, someone has a large lump of very pure gold and he loses it outside, where it becomes covered by rubbish and dirt. Many years go by and a poor person comes along and builds a crude shack on this garbage. He lives there with very little food and clothing. Yet underneath him is this huge lump of pure gold. But the gold cannot say to the man, I am a lump of gold and I am underneath you. And the man cannot see into the ground to see that the gold is there. The gold itself hasn't undergone any change in all that time, even though it is obscured by all this garbage. It remains gold and never changes. If a clairvoyant person come along, he would see this poor man in his shack and think he's having a very hard time. But he doesn't have to suffer. He has got a large lump of gold just underneath him, and all he has to do is dig away and reveal it. The clairvoyant feels great compassion for the poor man and says to him, you do not need to live like this. All you have to do is dig under your floor and you'll find a large nugget of gold. The poor man, of course, has to believe the clairvoyant person in order to get the gold. But if he does believe the clairvoyant and digs under the floor, then the gold will be revealed. Similarly, we have Buddha nature, just like the poor man's hidden gold was always present and unchanged. But we cannot see this Buddha nature, and so we experience the suffering that comes from living in samsara. But because we have Buddha nature, or Buddha essence, we do not need to continue suffering. The Buddha feels compassion for beings, seeing that they have Buddha nature, yet experience the suffering of samsara, and he says, you do not have to undergo all this suffering, because you have within you Buddha nature, and through practicing you will be able to manifest it. If we believe in this and practice the Buddhist teachings, we will be able to uncover our Buddha nature and gain freedom from samsara. End quote. Kenshin Thrangu, on Buddha Essence, a commentary of Ranjung Dorje's treatise. Quote, we might ask, who created this element, Buddha nature? No one created it. It has no creator, but it does possess its own qualities and characteristics. The Buddha's knowledge, the Buddha's love, the qualities of the Buddha's speech and mind are all present in this element. They are all ready to manifest. End quote. Kenshin Thrangu, on Buddha Essence, a commentary on Ranjung Dorje's treatise. There are two important footnotes to this section. The first footnote refers to the face of Rahu. Rahu is a chief demigod or Ashura who sometimes obscures the sun. The second and final important footnote in this section refers to the sentence, quote, therefore, although a Buddha in which all qualities such as the powers and so forth are integrally complete, exists primordially in all sentient beings, the defilements are extinguished through striving at the path, clearing away obstructions, but the clear light is not consumed. End quote. See Chapter 6 of this book on the idea of innate or primordial enlightenment for more details and information.